Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Matthew with Watty's channel. Once again, thank you so much for joining me. So we are counting down until the next AWA Remco tournament, but until then, we do have one more hurdle to get over, and that is the next 4 videos, which are going to consist of the Mattel Superstars action figure line review videos. So the good thing about the Mattel Superstar line, it only contains 4 figures per series, so relatively easy for each series to be collected. Problem is, most of these are like Walmart exclusive type of deals. You might be able to find some here and there on like ring-sided exclusives if you need any, but more than likely you'll probably end up having to pay up a pretty good penny for them on eBay. And what sucks is like you really want these figures up front, right? And you're probably going to end up shelling out $30, $40, $50 for these figures. And within the next 3 or 4 months, you'll probably find them at Walmart or something for like $18, $20, what have you. So if you are patient, you can get these figures eventually for a pretty good price. I've tried going through Walmart exclusives and pre-ordering these figures, but you sit around for like 4 or 5 months, and then they send you a message saying, hey, we're out of stock. So always disappointing. I pretty much stopped trying to go through that website. I just buy them on eBay when I can. But another thing I like about the Mattel Superstars, well, there are a couple things. One, I like the inclusion of both post and modern day wrestlers. And I also like the backdrop of the card to the actual figures themselves. So it kind of gives you a nice balance of LJN meets Remco. The Superstars with the blue backing gives you a nice little LJN feel to it, so the whole 1980s nostalgia. And of course, the action figures themselves feel very reminiscent to that of the AWA Remco figures of the 1980s. So, Series 1 was released in 2021 with the first set of 4 figures, and those are the 4 we're going to look at in this video. And we are going to start off with none other than, possibly, in most people's opinion, the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time, Honky Tonk Man. Now, I run into the same issue with these figures that I run into like with the Mattel Retros, and that is, I bought all of the figures simply on card from the beginning, and I've been trying to go back and purchase a lot of these figures loose as well. Sometimes I have no choice, and I have to buy another carded figure in order to open it up and get the figure out. And you know me, being a mint collector, it kills me anytime I'd have to open up a package myself, or if I see a video and someone else is just ripping the bubble and everything off, I die inside seeing that. So that's why I try to buy these figures loose, for my loose collection. As I said, the Honky Tonk Man, one of the best figures, not just of this series, but of the entire line period. Reason being, he has an awesome robe accessory and, of course, the actual guitar. Now, I've seen this guitar displayed loose, and it actually breaks in half. So I guess the pieces just snap in together. And so on the back of the card, it says, I'm cool, I'm cocky, I'm bad. Honky Tonk Man. I've talked about Honky Tonk Man in the past. Like I said, 400 plus days, what is that, 13 months, 14 months and change, something like that. And to have that type of run, especially with the second tier belt, the Intercontinental Championship, which is, very commonly referred to as the workers' belt. So, not only was he the Intercontinental Champion for well over a year, but how he dropped the belt to me will always, really kill me inside. Yes, he lost it to an incredible major superstar that when he joined WWF, he got a major push right off the bat, being the Ultimate Warrior. But I don't care what kind of champion you are, if it's tag team belts, Intercontinental, or heavyweight championship, you want that matchup to be as fierce. And to me, I just think that was one of the most pitiful changings of the belt that I've ever seen. I mean, literally, Warrior beat on him before he could even unrobe and got him pinned in like a minute, 30 seconds, something crazy. Kind of an embarrassing move, and I think he just simply didn't want to lose the belt, and I think that's why he was like, you know what, I'm not doing this 20 or 30 minute match. You know, if we're going to lose the belt, I want it over with. And that's how it worked out. I don't have Honky Tonk Man loose, and I probably only have like maybe 8 figures, I'm guessing, kind of throwing a number out of my head, loose. So most of these, you're just going to be looking at the carded version. Honky Tonk Man, Series 1, Figure 1, and once again, just like any other card, I always go based on the order that they appear on the back of the carding. So, that leaves the New World Order version of Hulk Hogan. I never watched WCW during this time period, and the closest I ever came to watching WCW, you know, was probably very, very early 90s, between like 1990, 1992, 1993, and that was just more flipping through the channels, seeing what's on, and coming across some matches on WCW. And who other than guys like Ric Flair and Vader, you know, Nasty Boys, Sting, Legion of Doom, you know, those were always the predominant teams. The Steiner Brothers, those were always the predominant wrestlers I always saw wrestle. And of course, when they all transitioned to, well, minus Sting, to WWF, to me, they were always WCW wrestlers. Finding guys like Hulk Hogan, you know, Macho Man, Elizabeth, Mean Gene Okerlund, even Rick Rude. I mean, there's just so many guys that transitioned over to WCW that it just felt unnatural. And, you know, it's a good looking figure. This one says, when you're NWO, you're NWO for life. Kind of like the slogan a little bit. But it also kind of gives you like that, you know, like gangster theme. This one, I kind of, with the championship belts, and I know they did it in real life as well, where they spray painted NWO on the big gold belt. I don't like that. The figure itself, very plain. I'm not a huge fan of this particular figure. And I'll explain why I wouldn't enjoy this as much once I look at the next figure. So, Hulk Hogan. I mean, there's really not a whole lot I can say about Hulk Hogan. I mean, you're talking about probably the biggest celebrity in wrestling history. There's not a person on this planet that doesn't know the name Hulk Hogan or can at least have some kind of memories of Hogan, whether it's in movies or wrestling or commercials, etc. And of course, he has the most iconic theme song ever. So it's sad that they did away with that when he went to WCW. I mean, that would have been nice to keep the old school theme. And no, I'm not talking about Survivor. Great song, but we all know the one that it will always be Hulk Hogan's song. Next figure is Nature Boy Ric Flair. And this is kind of more reminiscent to your 1980s Ric Flair. So, and it's not just of the 1980s, but to me, when I look at this, it kind of looks like his AWA days as well. So, they kind of changed up the card here a little bit compared to the other two cards, which had them horizontal, and then they moved the pictures vertically, so whatever, not a huge difference, not a major change. They did add one additional piece in this. I don't see a championship belt, but they add a little microphone. And what do I talk about when it comes to these modern day wrestlers or modern day wrestling figures that I despise? Not only do they have like all these movable joints, right, but they also have like these little packages on the back of the figure where you can remove the hands, and it's crazy. To me, that is so annoying. You're not gonna, if you're a kid, right, and you're trying to, you know, wrestle with this, you're not gonna have Ric Flair in the ring on the microphone and then changing out this hand for another hand so he can fight. Especially, you take out the microphone, if I can. You know, it's a punchable hand and whatnot, so to me, I would always just simply stick with one set of hands, let it be. So, he did come with a championship belt, but I did not see that in this back. You know what? It's probably underneath his robe, but based on this, I can't see one in there. And it doesn't look like his rub would actually cover anything, but when I purchased this figure loose, it did come with the belt. You know, better for me. I did think at one point, kind of looking at the wrestling superstars, that I was actually falling so much in love with this particular line. I thought they were going to replace original San Francisco as my third favorite toy line, you know, right behind Hasbro and LJN. I gotta specify, as you guys know, when I say LJN, I'm talking about 8-inch rubber figures. And yes, they also did thumb wrestlers and they did the bendies. But when I talk about those figures, I don't say LJN bendies. I don't say LJN thumb wrestlers. I just say bendies or I say thumb wrestlers. So for those who are just, you know, joining me for the first time or haven't seen all my videos, when I talk about LJN, I'm talking about the 8-inch rubber figures. So, in package, I thought these were amazing pieces. I absolutely love them. I thought they could take over at number 3. Until I got my first set of loose figures, and I looked at it, I'm like, you know what? I'm not so crazy about them as I thought I'd be. And it's what I've talked about with the Jakks Classic Superstars. In package, love the figures. Out of the package, you know, I'm indifferent to them. And, you know, they're good-looking figures. You know, very playable figures, fun figures. You know, great loose for display and everything. But I don't think I'd really have a lot of enjoyment with these particular type of figures. So with the hands and everything, and they kind of remind me of like the Sun Gold bootleg version wrestlers. But they obviously look more articulated with the actual real life human beings. So still a very good solid figure nonetheless. And I don't know where I put this Ric Flair figure. Probably top 6, top 7 among my favorites. He is a good one. And we end this video with number 4. And this one was a sad one. Because this was a death in the wrestling family within the last week. What's today? Today's the 29th. So, I don't know, 27th or 26th or something around that time frame. The death of Wyndham Rotunda. So, Bray Wyatt, I didn't know this before his death, but apparently he is the son of IRS, aka, you know, Mike Rotunda. And I did not know a lot about Bray Wyatt. Again, you know, guys like Bray Wyatt, like Braun Strowman, and Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, you know, like these super mega stars that of today's modern wrestling. The first and only time I've ever seen these guys wrestle is when I go back on YouTube and I watch like the more recent Royal Rumbles that have populated. You know, like the 2018 through 2022, I think is the last one I saw on the platform. I don't think they have 2023 up yet. And just kind of like reading some articles about him, you know, people, you know, sending their condolences, their, you know, their best wishes, rest in peace wishes, whatnot. This was a very beloved character. I wish I knew more about him, got to enjoy his career a little bit more. But like I said, anytime someone passes away, it's heartbreaking. This figure, it says Firefly Funhouse. And they go back to the horizontal pictures. Yowie Wowie. Yowie Wowie. I don't know what that is. Maybe a slogan or whatnot. Anyone that's familiar with modern day wrestling would know better. So, an amazing figure inside. And I do have this one loose as well. Pretty incredible piece. Normally I don't like when the hats are removable. Like, you know, Hasbro with like Papa Shango and The Undertaker, etc. You know, Bart Gunn, you know, and a whole slew of other characters. Because what happens, you know, you're gonna, if you're a kid, you're taking this off, you're putting it down, you're gonna wrestle your figures, and at some point it's gonna get up, grow legs, and walk away. But I think with this type of figure, you know, it sticks nice and tight to the head, where I feel like you don't have to be a kid, you could be an adult wrestling these guys. I feel like it'd be a really good, solid figure where you can just wrestle with the head on. You know, you don't have to take that off. Got the little bow tie, little jacket and everything. I think these jackets actually would have been pretty solid pieces to add to like your Series 8 Hasbro Undertaker. I think that figure, I do have it carded, but like the loose figure I have is like a generic custom cloak. So I don't think it's quite as thick, but what this would still be, in my opinion, a pretty solid piece to add to it. Or in the next series, or Series 3, Undertaker. You could take that cloak from that figure, put it on your Hasbro Series 8. I'm not doing all that, but just kind of give you one more look at the Bray Wyatt figure. Head sculpt wise, I think this might be the best of the head sculpts. My favorite figure, no. Accessory with the hat and everything. Yeah, he's got a lot of awesome things about this figure that I enjoy. And, you know, the accessories and the head sculpt are just one of them. Let's see, right now we're at about 16 figures that have been released. So, again, 4 figures per series. Series 4 is really the most recent release. But once we get to Series 5, I only have 1 figure from Series 5. And it's kind of an oddball because 2 of the last 4 figures are basically the same photos that you would find in Series 4. So I don't know if that's some kind of error or whatnot. And when you actually look it up, they're completely different characters anyways. They do have Series 6 coming out later on this year, and even Series 7. They have the prototypes for those figures as well. And Series 6, I have seen some of those on eBay. I don't know if they're pre-orders or if they're actually in hand, but it would be really awesome to have those in hand right now to make these videos. It doesn't matter if I make them now or if I make them 6 months from now, because I'm going to put these in a playlist for you guys, so you'll be able to look at all of the figures series by series from that playlist. Once again, Bray Wyatt closes things out. Take one last look at each of the individual figures. From Bray Wyatt to Ric Flair to your WCW Hollywood Hogan, NWO Hogan version, and one of the best of the whole line, Honky Tonk Man. So we are at 17 minutes. So we're looking at approximately 20 minutes per video. And I'm going to try my best to film all 4 series right now. So that'll put me at about 80 minutes. Yeah. Hopefully it doesn't kill the knees too much. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. And I'm probably going to move this camera around just to kind of get different angles for each new series. Thanks for watching, everybody, once again. As always, talk to you in the comments, and see you in the next video. Take care, everybody.